What does Virginia want to do? They want to run the football, and Clemson has the 65th best run defense in college football. That will take time off the clock and give the Wahoos a chance to cover. Also, Virginia needs some good news. Basketball head coach Tony Bennett has retired, so maybe you make some money as the Cavaliers cover. Let's go Cavaliers plus 21.5 in Clemson.
I looked at this game. The number seemed very large to me, especially for, an ACC matchup. If you want to watch it, a noon Eastern kick at Clemson on Saturday afternoon.
Pick six.
All right, next up, it's kind of a squad play. We're playing the same game, but a different angle. For me, this kind of goes hand in hand with what Jenks is playing. So I need Louisville to at least keep it close for this to be a back and forth affair, because I'm going with Miami and Louisville over the total of 59.5 points. If you look at both these teams, they have been cash cows to the over this season. Miami, a perfect 6-0 to the over, and Louisville 4-2 to the over this season as well. So statistically, Miami has this great defense, but we've seen them be especially soft over the last two games, giving up 38 to Cal and 34 to Virginia Tech. And then you look at Louisville, who is coached by Jeff Brom. The Giant Killer was his nickname when he was at Purdue. This is a team I feel like can keep it close, and a team that has a really dynamic offense, averaging 36 points per game. I feel like this will be back and forth. And oh, by the way, Miami has a quarterback who's a candidate for the Heisman, Cam Ward. Ever heard of him? So I feel like I am leaning towards the over here. Let's go over 59.5 between Louisville and Miami.
Well, Chelsea, I'm going to be on this game, but in a different way. So let's go Louisville plus 4.5 hosting Miami. I like Louisville a lot in this spot. Every time I've trusted the Canes so far this season, I've taken a shot to the heart every single time. So I'm done trusting these guys. Needed a miracle against Virginia Tech. They were lucky to beat Cal. And yes, they've had a week to prepare. That is your sabotage factor. But Jeff Brom is one of the best college football coaches in the country, especially getting ready for big games. I think he has the play calls in his bag to keep this one close. Miami needs to prove it to me. Also, you don't just walk in to L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium laying 4.5 points. Let's go Cardinals plus 4.5.
If you want to watch that game, it is set for noon Eastern in Louisville tomorrow.
Pick six.
All right, let's get to the big game, shall we? I'm going to start with Alabama and Tennessee. It is the third Saturday in October, and I'm taking the Tide. Let's go Bama laying 3 here, because when it comes to these big spotlight games, I want to trust the quarterback who has been there and done it and played in these big spotlight games. So it's going to be Jalen Milroe for me. I think with Tennessee, yes, they've got a great defense. Yeah, their run game's actually pretty solid. But when it comes down to it, I think both these teams are pretty evenly matched. I don't know if I can trust Nico in this spot. We've seen him kind of take a nosedive when it comes to his Heisman odds over the last few weeks, because some of the passes just haven't been that accurate. So I'm going to go with Alabama here. I think this is a big game, of course, for their national title hopes. And I think their secondary is pretty good. I think it's going to be a tough challenge for Nico and company. So let's go with a quarterback who I trust a little bit more. Let's go Jalen Milroe, who I think can negate some of those Tennessee defensive prowesses with his feet. Let's go Bama -3.
It is a 3:30 Eastern kickoff tomorrow afternoon at Neyland Stadium.
Pick six.
I've been waiting for this one, as you know. When this number came out, Georgia getting 3.5 points against Texas, I think casual bettors looked at that and said, oh, I'm all over that. Texas, this is a Big 12 team. What have they done? Yeah, they're in the SEC. They beat Michigan, who's down this year, beat a bad Oklahoma team. They're not ready for the Dogs. I'm going to be on Georgia. And then the sharp money came in, moved this number to 5. In fact, early on, our own PJ Glasser was on Georgia. He was. Well, I got a message for PJ Glasser. And I'm not one to talk about people I work alongside. But PJ is a great guy. I hope we have lunch soon. And any woman in this country would be blessed beyond belief to have his children. And I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about a minivan full. He is something. I just disagree with him here. Georgia plays a lot of man defense. That is a death knell against this Texas offense. Do not forget the name. Ryan Wingo. I'm calling it right now. True freshman. He is going to make a statement in this game. And the last time we saw Uga, Bevo almost killed him, maimed him on 2019 at the Sugar Bowl. Leave him in Athens. I wore this sweater for a reason. It's burnt orange, and it looks fantastic on me. I'm feeling frisky. I'll play it down to 3 just because I can. Texas -3 in Austin against the Dogs.
What a roller coaster of a handicap. Here I thought that you were going to insult PJ, and then you started talking about his like progeny and how somebody's going to have like a boatload of kids with them. And then right when I was feeling like, oh, Jenks is such a nice guy, you insulted Uga, that adorable mascot of Georgia. How dare you? But you are right. That was a close call.
I mean, my goodness, if you're waiting to bet on Georgia, you're kind of hoping they lose this game, right? Because that odds are going to change, and you'll still be able to pick them. I still think they have enough on their schedule that if they run the table the rest of the way, they're going to make the playoffs. Like they're going to have a road win at a still ranked Ole Miss team. They're going to have a home win against Tennessee, assuming they take care of business, of course. It's almost more likely that they're going to win the national championship than it might be the SEC championship if they do not beat Texas. I think the path to that game specifically would be incredibly difficult, needing a lot of extra help. And so you'd actually have better odds, right, to win the national championship than the SEC title at that point. I think it depends. What happened in Georgia, Alabama, right? They got pushed around early, but they showed fight. Did we not feel like that's a team that is maybe capable of winning a national championship? The second half Georgia squad that we saw, and they went about it differently. Like I said, they opened up the pass game. They took chances, and they figured a couple things out on defense as well. I think that's what you're hoping has happened. And at the end of the day, you do still have Kirby Smart. I don't think he forgot how to coach football, forgot how to game plan for big games. I think he's always going to give you an advantage. There's not a single team in the country that you could put Georgia up against that I won't say Kirby is going to give you some sort of advantage. So I think there's always that benefit as well.
Is there an advantage on either side coaching-wise because Kirby Smart and Steve Sarkisian know each other so well? They both are part of that Saban tree. As we know, they vacation together. So these guys know each other intimately, but they're both fantastic on opposite sides of the football.
Yeah, I would, like I said, I would always give that edge to Kirby Smart. And that's just – and look, Sark has had a great, little 2-year turnaround here. But, there were real questions, as recently as 2-3 years ago about Sark and could he handle the SEC? What is this program going to become when they get into the big, bad Southeastern Conference? And he's done a great job. But let's not pretend that those questions weren't asked and they weren't real. And so I find it tough to believe that 2 years ago we're job security Sark, and now we're best coast in the country Sark. And so I still do have questions about Steve Sarkisian. And again, it's not really their fault. They haven't had an opportunity to prove it against anyone in a big game. They get that opportunity on Saturday night.